Okay, well, welcome. My name is Joellen Lampman. I am the Director of the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Programs. And I see, Mark, that you just joined us. We were supposed to have a few people that were going to join us today. I'm going to get started. Do you currently have a property that is registered in the program?
Hi, I'm sorry. Are you asking Mark?
Yes, I am.
No, I do not.
Okay, great. So this is just a learning about the program
Yes, ma'am.
visit for you. Right now it's just the three of us, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I find these things are usually better if we're more interactive. So basically the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary programs that we have are set up like an environmental management system, which goes through the plan, do, check, act circular process. And so we've set up our education and certification program to match that process. So when you first register a property in the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program, you're going to receive a new member packet, and in there is a guide to environmental stewardship on the golf course, which is our primary educational piece. We don't really expect anybody to read it from cover to cover, but it also matches step-by-step with the certification handbook. So if you have any questions as you're going through about wildlife and habitat management or water quality testing or anything that we're requiring for certification, the guide is a really good first place to go. And Eric, I know that for some people that have been in the program for a while, sometimes these new member packets go missing. So if you don't have yours, we also have all of this information digitally on the member-only website, and I will be pointing that out in a little bit. Okay. As part of that new member packet, we send you a registration art print. You're also going to get one of these every time you register your property. And one of the big aspects of the program is outreach and education, and that's letting people know what you're doing and why you're doing it. So we try to provide people with the tools to be able to do that. These registration art prints announcing that you're part of an environmental program can be the first part of an environmental display that gets put up. So we encourage you to use these, not just hang it up in the maintenance facility, but put it into an area where people are likely to notice them. In the clubhouse, next to the starting shack. Some people find that the best place to put them where people will notice them or to the entrances to the restrooms. It's really going to depend on your particular site where the best place to put this kind of display is. We also, as membership, have Stewardship News, which is our newsletter. This is going to go out digitally, and so this is the latest copy that we sent out, so you should be getting one of these every 4 years. And these articles are going to be case studies from our members. They're going to be how-to articles and just some information about what's going on here at Audubon International if we've added new staff or something like that. We always look to our members to help to support the educational pieces that we put out like this. So at one point during the certification process, we're going to ask you to complete a case study, which is a description of just one project that you've done. And the more detailed that is, the better the pictures that come with it, the more likely it is that we're going to use it either for our own publications or it'll come up during a conversation with a reporter. I probably speak to reporters a few times a week where people are just really interested in this idea of golf and the environment. So the more anecdotal stories that I have to tell them, the stronger those pieces tend to be. So let me talk about your property by keeping me informed. This is the cover of the Guide to Environmental Stewardship on the golf course, as well as the table of contents. And I know this is probably pretty small, but we've divided the chapters into the 6 certification categories that we're looking at for the golf course program. So that's environmental planning, wildlife and habitat management, where we're looking at out-of-play areas, chemical use reduction and safety, which is primarily your integrated pest management program. We also take a look at your maintenance facility from a safety standpoint, from a human safety standpoint. Water conservation is putting water where it's needed, when it's needed, and only as much as needed. Water quality management are your best management practices. We also take another look at your maintenance facility from a water quality standpoint. And outreach and education, again, is letting people know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And also getting people involved to help you with the process. This really isn't something that you should take on all by yourself. The more people that are involved, the more people that have ownership in it, the more people that are talking about it, the more successful the program's going to be in the long run. The second more important piece is the certification handbook. And we'll get into depth more in that. You're also going to get a native plant list for your eco-region, and we actually have the resources to determine what that is. So we're going to let you know what your eco-region is, what your likely plant community is, and send you a native plant list that's going to match that community. And we're also going to send you a list of nurseries for your state where you can find some of these native plants. And then besides the hard copy stuff that you get, there's also the technical support that our staff provides. We're available by phone and email. We have a member-only website, which I will get into in a bit. There's also the Audubon Stewards Network, and that's made up of people that have brought a property through certification. They love the program. They really want to help other people to be successful in it. So by signing up for that, they have volunteered to be contacted by people that have questions about the program. So you might want to see if there's somebody that's nearby to you. Oftentimes they're very willing to give you a tour of their property and talk about some of the things that they did, or to give you advice on some of the ways that they met their requirements, like where they got their water testing done or how they met some of the outreach and education requirements. And as a staff, we also do site visits. They're available, but they're not required through the program. So typically, if I'm traveling to do a presentation or am involved in an event, I'm going to send out a email to all of the members that are within a certain radius of there and let them know that I'm going to be available if they want to have the site visit and not have to pay for the travel expenses. But again, that's something that's available, but it's not required. And as you're going through the program, we're also going to provide you with press releases. Like as I mentioned, case studies are sent to us, and we can use those in different ways, such as articles and in media highlights. I've actually been asked to come up with a list of really good golf courses that are high actors that are going to be highlighted in an upcoming industry magazine. So again, the more information that I have from you, especially picture-wise, high-quality pictures, the better I am going to be able to tell your story. We do have the website. It's www.audubоninternational.org, and from that page, you can find information about all of our programs. We have a list of the certified properties. In the newsroom, we have both featured blog posts as well as latest press releases that we have sent out. We do have a store which has things like signage and books that you might be interested in picking up, and also the opportunity to contact all of the staff here at Audubon International. And then this area right here is the login area for the member-only website. So you're going to put your email into this site, and then it's a computer-generated password. So if you've never been on there, you're just going to click Forgot Password, and it's going to get emailed to you. And once you get into there, it's going to give you information about the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program, including the certification documents. You can actually download the certification handbook as a Word document and complete it on the computer. Then all you need to do is then upload the file up to us. So we're saving paper, we're saving postage. It could get to us faster. And there's also this educational resources section. And if the property has already been designated as a certified Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary, the recertification button is where you can find out how where you are in the recertification process and download that handbook. So this is the educational resources that are available. So we have fact sheets about different environmental topics. The list of Audubon stewards can be found from here. I've also mapped that out, so if you click on there, it'll show you where the stewards are to make it easier to find somebody that's closest to you. The environmental management guidelines is basically the environmental plan section of the certification handbook taken out and reformatted, and that's a good piece to give to people that have questions about the program, or they might be helping you out, so they might be part of your resource advisory group. So that's a useful document for certain people. Also, natural regions. If you misplace that native plant list that we have supplied to you, you can download a new copy from this area. We also have toolkits available. These are currently not on the website. I'm working on that, but if you're interested, just contact me and I can forward them on to you. These are basically outreach and education projects in a PDF file. So in both of those, there are posters that you can blow up. The Green Golfer Toolkit is a pledge that we've developed that helps golfers to see their place in this golf and the environment realm. There are pledge cards that they can sign, and there's also case studies in there of how people have used the pledge to promote their efforts and also to meet some of the outreach and education criteria. The Bird Blitz is how to conduct a wildlife inventory on your property involving outside groups or maybe even your own members. So setting up a bird watching day, there's the case studies again in there. There's bird lists to help you to set that up. So that's an outreach and education project, and it's also going to help you meet the need for a wildlife inventory, which we're going to need when you apply for certification in wildlife and habitat management. We also have a Facebook page. Like everybody else these days. The two areas that I would encourage you to pay the most attention to are under photos. I have created a folder of photos specifically of environmental signage and displays so that you can take a look at what other people have done and get some ideas for your own property. And also under events, this is going to list out seminars that we're giving, other webinars, conferences that we're going to. So, for example, we're going to be at the Golf Industry Show, so that's going to show up under events. Just like that. And this is what that environmental displays and signage looks like. So in here I have pictures from every range of how much money they could spend to create the display or the sign, as well as the different aesthetic values. So no matter if you're at a really high-end country club or a more frugal municipal golf course, you're going to find something that's going to fit within your range and the looks of your golf course within this folder. Here's, I don't know if you've been on Facebook. If you click on a picture, it's going to grow bigger so you can get a closer look at it. I use this one as my example because people often ask me how to keep people out of their natural areas. So I often encourage people to use signage like rattlesnakes if you're in the West. Even if you don't have them, you can be sure it's going to keep people out of your natural areas. In other areas where there might be people that know that you don't have rattlesnakes in those areas, signage about poison ivy or stinging nettle or something like that can help the same purpose to keep people out of these areas. So just to recap, the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program works like an environmental management system. So for planning, we've got the site assessment and environmental plan to help you to do that. We've got the new member packet, the site assessment and environmental plan within the certification handbook. Any questions that you have, you can call us, you can email us, you can refer to the Audubon Steward Network, and there's also information on the member-only website that will help you with that. The next step is actually to implement your environmental plan. Again, there's a great variety of ways that you can get information from us. Definitely use that, the stewards, and also there's, as you are finishing up, checking it, you're going to be documenting your efforts. You're going to record that in the certification handbook, in the certification request forms, and then that gets sent to us. We're going to review all of that information, and we're going to provide you with reports that are going to include recommendations, talk about what you're doing that's really good, and that's something that you can share with your resource advisory group and can help to move you forward, or just to know that where you are is a good place and you can maintain that. And then the continuous acting, the striving for continuous improvement after the property has been designated as a certified Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary. There's a recertification process that occurs every 2 years. So you're going to be redocumenting the efforts that you're taking, keeping us up to date, keeping yourself up to date, helping us to be able to tell your story. Going back to the member-only website, I mentioned certification documents. You can download the certification handbook as a Word document or as a PDF, but I recommend downloading it as Word so you can complete it right there on your computer. We have the Guide to Environmental Stewardship on Your Golf Course as a PDF. We've also had this translated into Spanish if you have any Spanish-speaking employees that might be interested in that. And we also have an environmental policy that we've developed. It's very simple. It's letting people know that you have an interest in the environment, but it's suitable for framing so that you can make that part of your environmental display. With the certification materials, we've tried very hard to make it as easy to complete as possible. We don't want you spending a lot of time completing paperwork for us. So as you can see from these examples from the site assessment, it's mainly check boxes and filling in the blanks. And then the environmental plan, we're listing out the environmental management practices that we're going to be looking for through the certification process. And you're just going to let us know if yes, you're doing that, no, you're not doing that, or partial, you might be doing some of it, but it hasn't yet been completed. And then this little box here is just to provide us a really brief idea of when you think you might be able to have that project completed. And we certainly don't need specific dates. It might be that you don't think that you can get that done until the spring of 2014. That's fine. We just want to know that you have it in your heads and recognize that this is something that you need to get done. Once you send in that site assessment environmental plan, again, we're going to provide you with a report that's going to help turn your no's into yeses and can help further your ability to nail down that environmental plan further. And then there's a statement of support that I had mentioned earlier. So this is what you're going to find in the certification handbook. We reformatted this so that it could be displayable. And it's just talking about your commitment to the environment and how you're going to go about protecting the land, water, and wildlife that the golf course has associated with it. As you're going through your certification handbook, after you're done with your site assessment and environmental plan, we have a section there that talks briefly about the backup documentation that we're going to need for certification. So it's a good idea to keep in mind at that point what you're going to need to do. To give you an example of that, most people are going to fill out their certification materials in the wintertime when they just have more time than they do during the busy growing season. They might realize that they need a picture of your pond shorelines, and I have been sent many, many pictures of snow-covered and ice-covered ponds, which doesn't meet my needs of being able to see how you're maintaining the vegetation around the ponds. So you want to keep this in mind during the growing season so you can take pictures that I need when these properties are growing and are at their most full vegetative growth. Maps used to be a sticking point for people. It's not so much anymore, basically because of the available of being able to get images of your property off of the internet. If you just go to Google Maps and you type in your address, you should be able to come up with a map that looks like that. I'm a fan of this program. It's scribblemaps.com. It's basically the same thing where you type in an address. It's going to bring you up an image of that property. But this allows you, with this different tools, to go in and actually draw, like if you have natural areas, that could be circled and drawn out, and you can use different colors to show that that might be a wildflower area, or this area over here is a wetland, so that you can use different colors to do that. It's completely up to you. The easiest thing is to just get the map, print it out, and then use colored pencils or markers to mark out the different habitat areas that we ask for. We also ask you for the altitude, the highs and lows on your property, and I just Googled find altitude and came up with this mapping tool. And if you click on different areas of the golf course, it's going to let you know what the altitude is. So it's another useful tool that I've found by Googling. I've mentioned the case study a few times. This is the case study form. It's just one sheet, front and back. So we're not looking for a dissertation, but it's just a project description, the goals that you had for the program, implementation and management, what the reaction of individuals were to the project, and any recommendations that you would have if somebody else was going to do that project, how they might want to do it differently. You want to send these case studies ideally with before and after photos. If you didn't take the before photos, that's fine. Send the after photos. But thinking ahead, if you think of something that you might want to do a case study on, make sure that you take those before pictures. We're also interested in the financials because it's going to help determine or help people if they thinking about doing a similar project, what the cost might be involved in that. And if you have any if you need help in finding different projects to do, you certainly can call us or email us, and we'd be happy to help you. I do look to these for articles and for stories, so if you want us to be able to tell your story, I recommend not doing a case study on nest boxes because I have thousands of them. If that's the only project you feel like you can write about, that's fine. I'll absolutely accept it, but it's probably not going to end up in a written publication. And we're here to help. I mean, that's the main thing that I want to get across. We want to help you with where you are to move forward on the environmental spectrum. If you have any questions about certification, about environmental issues, about species that you might find on the course, or water quality test results, anything like that, you can definitely feel free to give me a call. If you have questions about your membership itself, where you are in the process, when your payment is due, anything like that, Jennifer Batza is the person that you're going to want to talk to, and she'll be very happy to help you out in any way. And at this point, I'm going to ask you if you have any questions.
I don't. That was great.
Okay. It's the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program in a nutshell. One question that I do often get asked is how long does the process take? And it does typically take people from 1 to 3 years from start to finish to get certified. It is not 1 to 3 years worth of work. It's just that you have a lot of different things that are going on the golf course. So depending on how much of a priority it is, the fastest that it's ever been done from joining to getting certified has been 5 months.
And how many golf courses are certified currently? I've heard a couple different numbers ranging from 800 to 2,000.
Right now, I believe the number is 843 certified Audubon Cooperative Sanctuaries across the world. 2,000 would be the number that are in the program.
Gotcha. Working toward the certification.
Either working toward or certified. So that's our total membership. It's over 2,000. And actually, Mark, this is a good time to register properties in the program because currently John Deere is paying for half of the first year's membership, which is it's $200 a year to be part of the program. So John Deere will pay $100 of that for the first year. And if you go to our website and click on programs, there's a link there for joining now and taking advantage of that offer.
Mm-hmm. What's the most common thing that golf courses are not doing that they should be doing? Is it out of those 6 areas? Is there a way to prioritize your findings?
I would say that documentation is often not what it should be. So water quality testing, for certification we're looking for surface water testing, just a basic chemical analysis including nutrients, pH, dissolved oxygen. That's often not done. And that's important not only for ensuring that your best management practices are working, but it's also a really good golf course management process to know what your irrigation water is looking like before you put it on your turf grass. Another one is the maintenance facility itself, ensuring that there's spill containment where chemicals are being mixed, loaded, and stored. And also where the wash pad is, that there's proper filtration that's taking place to make sure that there's no ground or surface water contamination. And then for integrated pest management, I would say that keeping scouting records is often something that's not done. But the research has shown that that simple step reduces the amount of pesticides that are put on the golf course and improves quality. So it's a requirement in the program that most people aren't doing before they join.
Great.
And my question is, I did my site assessment environmental plan, and it looks like wildlife and habitat management would be next.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good starting? I mean, how do I get started?
Well, you still have the report that we sent off to you. If you don't, I can send. Okay.
In my book right now, the certification handbook, and
Yep.
pages, what is it, 7 or where is it? The site assessment, where does it go to?
Oftentimes we find it doesn't need to be done in any certain order, and most people find that they're doing what needs to be done for certification for water conservation. So most people are going to have that be their next category. Okay. For wildlife and habitat management, if you have not taken pictures of your natural areas and your shorelines, you can still do that now if you haven't weed-eated all around them for the winter season. But if you don't have that photo documentation now, you might need to wait until the springtime to collect that, or if you don't have the wildlife inventory yet. So water conservation is an excellent one to start.
All right, water conservation. I'm in the book. I have that form filled out. So, what information do you need along with that to become certified? Or
so you have the certification handbook. So you're going to go past the site assessment and environmental plan.
Yeah.
And water conservation. Let me see if I could get my hands on a book.
Yeah, it's page 21.
Yeah, there's a specific certification request form for water conservation, which is on page 49.
Okay.
So that's a 3-page certification request form. And like I said, mostly check boxes and fill in the blanks.
Okay.
So you're going to provide us with that information. Wildlife and habitat management starts on page 38.
All right. And the more pictures, the better, right? To back up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can upload them now from the member-only site. So that really puts no limit to the size of the files or how many files
Sure.
that you upload.
What is the member address, email address, or the internet address?
It's
for you guys?
auduboninterational.org.
Okay. There it is. Okay.
So www.auduboninterational.org.
Okay.
And let me just make sure that I have your email address in there. Do you want me to just send you a password, Eric?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
And you have my email in from today when I logged on?
I don't know if I have that or not. I can check. But I think I had it from when you had filled out your site assessment environmental plan, so unless it has changed.
No, it has not changed. It wouldn't have changed.
Oh, it does look like I have a different one.
Oh, really?
Oh, nope, that's the same. Yeah, so you should be getting that password any moment now.
Okay, great.
And then you're going to log in using your email address and that password.
All righty.
And if you come up with any questions, you can just give me a call or shoot me an email afterwards.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for spending a little bit of your afternoon with me, and I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Okay, thank you. I
All right,
appreciate it.
take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.